Hello, grade 9. How are you today? I hope you're doing fine. So finally, we are gonna do the last explanation for chapter 5, okay? This is gonna be related to birth control. So after we will have seen all the reproductive system for male, female, and everything, we are gonna talk now about birth control. So birth control is a method of contraception. What does it do? It interrupts the process of production of sperm or ovum or the implantation of the zygote in the uterus. So there are different methods according to their effectiveness, okay? So each method has its own action. We have long-acting reversible contraception, hormonal contraception, barrier methods, emergency contraception, fertility awareness, and permanent contraception, okay? So now I'm gonna talk about each of them. First, the long-acting reversible contraception. So as the name says, it's a contraceptive method that lasts for a long term. Sometimes it's called fit and forget contraception because you don't need to remember it every day or every month. They are the most effective types of contraception, being more than 99% effective at preventing pregnancy. We have two main types: the intrauterine device, IUD, and the implant. The IUD, the intrauterine device, is a small device, T-shaped, so like here, you can see this T-shaped object that goes inside the uterus. So here you can see a picture of a uterus with this device inside. So this IUD, it's a small T-shaped object that goes inside the uterus. What it does, it stops the sperm to reach the egg or stops the egg from attached to the wall of the uterus, okay? So when you have this device inside, what it's gonna do? If there is some sperm here, it's gonna stop the sperm. It's not gonna allow the sperm to meet the egg. Or in case they meet, they will not allow the egg, the fertilized egg, to attach to the wall of the uterus. So it's not gonna develop a pregnancy, okay? Because this recent fertilized egg will not be able to attach to the uterus. This device is called long-acting reversible because it lasts for 5 to 10 years. So when you put this device, you can keep them for 5 or 10 years, so you don't need to worry anymore. There are two types: copper IUD that has copper, and hormonal IUD that contains the hormone progesterone. So some women, they cannot have hormone, so if they ingest some hormone, it doesn't feel well for them, or they prefer not to have, so they use this copper IUD that just contains copper. It's not a hormone. But even more effective is the hormone progesterone that avoid the egg to complete the cycles of division, so then avoid the egg to be fertilized. So two kind of shapes, two kind of types of IUD, copper IUD and hormonal IUD. Another one, that's the implant. This implant is a small rod, just like you can see here in the picture, that are put under the skin inside the arm, okay? It slowly releases a hormone called progesterone. This progesterone is a hormone, a similar hormone to the human progesterone, okay? This is synthetic, but very similar to the hormone progesterone. And when we have this hormone, we don't release the eggs. So stop the body from releasing an egg each month. Okay, so when you have this implant, it's the hormone goes releasing slowly each month, every day actually, And then if you have this hormone inside your body, you don't liberate the eggs. The eggs cannot be released, okay? They also do an extra action that they thicken the mucus of the cervix. So the sperm cannot get to an egg. So it's going to be more hard for the sperm to pass through the cervix to reach an egg. And it's called long acting because it lasts to 3 or 5 years. So depend on the implant that you put, it's gonna last 3 or 5 years. So you put and don't worry about it for 3 or 5 years. But it's called reversible, just like the IUD, because when you remove it, you can get pregnant, okay? So, or after these 3 or 5 years, when you remove, or if it's not effective anymore, you can get pregnant. Now the second time is hormone contraception. As the name says, it's hormone. So you take the contraceptives that use hormones to prevent pregnancy. And these hormones prevent women to release the eggs. There are two main types, oral contraceptive pills and contraceptive injection. So these two are basically hormones and there are different types of combination. So you need to talk to your doctor. All of them you need to talk to the doctor to check what's best for you. Let's talk about the oral contraceptive pills. I guess this is the most famous method of contraception. So you take a pill that contains estrogen and progesterone, okay, that is taken every day in a cycle basis, okay? So for example, if you buy this pill here, you can see, to make it easy for you to not forget, you check, for example, if you're starting on a Monday, then it's gonna show you which one you need to take every day. So on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, until you complete all the pills. These hormones that you are taking stops eggs from being made. So it's basically the same as the previous one, like the implant, because also stops the eggs to be released. Okay, so eggs here in the ovary, they are not released, they are not made. They avoid them to be maturate and released. This packet of pills usually contain 20 hormone pills, so 21 hormone pills that contains the hormone, and 7 no hormone pills. Okay, this period where you take the no hormone pills is the period is the time when your period occur. Okay, when you get menstruated. So and then after the 7 days, you start a new packet again with the 21 pills that contain the hormones, okay? But if you don't take the 7 no hormone pills, it's not a big deal. But if you forget 1 or 2, you gonna be in risk to be ovulated. Okay, so this is a hormone just like the other one, but the only thing that you need to remember every day to take one. And if you don't, maybe you can take a chance to get pregnant. Okay. There are also two types of oral contraceptive pills: the combined oral pill that contain both estrogen and progesterone. They are also similar to the hormones that you naturally produce, and the progesterone-only pill that contains only progesterone. Okay, this one is usually better, okay, because you are taking less, and this progesterone is better that don't create more side effects, okay. But always you need to check with your doctor which one is better for you, okay. And now the contraceptive injection is basically the same, contains progesterone as well, it's the same hormone and artificial hormone. And this is also stops the eggs to be released, okay? So the eggs don't go out from the ovaries. And also change the lining of the endometrium. So they they make more difficult for the fertilized egg to settle in the endometrium. This injection, it's there is an advantage that it's taking every 12 weeks or 4 months, no, 3 months or 3 months, okay? So you don't need to take a pill every day. So every 3 months you go take the injection. Now I'm going to talk about the barrier methods. Barrier methods is the method that physically avoid the meeting between the sperm and the egg. So it stops the sperm from entering the vagina. There are two main types, the condom, regular, and internal condoms. I'm gonna talk about them. So condom. Condom is like the male condom. It's a fine barrier which is rolled onto the penis before sex. It stops sperm and also infection passing between sexual partners. So this is also good not just for the contraception. The other ones are only for contraception. Here you also avoid passing or getting an infection, okay? And so help protect against pregnancy and sexually transmissible infection, STIs. And the other one is the female condom that we call internal condom. Is the female condom. It's a pouch that's used during the intercourse to prevent pregnancy. Have flexible rings at each end. So you can see here 2 rings. One of the rings, the closed one, goes inside the vagina and the other one remains open. So it's inserted into the vagina just before vaginal intercourse and stops sperm to passing through and also infection. So both of them are good to avoid passing infection, okay? This is the woman can put by herself, okay? And it's like you put a tampon, for example. So help protect against pregnancy and also sexually transmissible infection, STIs. Now the emergency contraception. Just like the name, it's an emergency. It's not something that you should take frequently, okay? It's recommended to be used up to 3 days after unprotected sex, but it's not recommended for you to do this all the time because it's gonna decrease the efficiency and can make some side effects in you as well. It's less effective than the preventive methods. It stops or delay the release of an egg from the ovaries until the sperms aren't active in the body. So when you take, if you are in the period of ovulation, it stops this ovulation, okay? But there is a risk. Prevents the sperm from fertilizing an egg by changing the way the sperm moves into the body. So they act both in the eggs and in the sperm. So in the eggs, prevent the ovaries to release the egg. And the sperm, they change the way the sperm moves. So makes the sperm to move slowly. So to decrease the chance for the sperm to find the egg. It doesn't work once the egg has been fertilized. So you never know. If the egg has already been fertilized, then it's not gonna work, okay? That's why it's called emergency, okay? You can take, but there is no guarantee that the egg has not been fertilized yet. If it's the case, it's not gonna work. And it doesn't harm the developing embryo. So if you take and the egg has been fertilized, it's not gonna harm the developing embryo. So your baby is not gonna have any problem. Now the fertility awareness is the most natural method. Is basically when the woman recognizes the signs of fertility in her menstrual cycle. Okay, once you understand your menstrual cycle, you can understand how it works. So it can be used to understand your own menstrual cycle, okay, not just to prevent pregnancy, and to plan a pregnancy or to avoid a pregnancy. Actually, this method is more recommended when the woman wants to get pregnant that doesn't want to get pregnant, okay? Because the chance of this fail is very high. So it's not recommended for person who wants to avoid, okay? But you can use. For example, if pregnancy is not a big deal and you want just to control, it's very natural, so you don't take any hormones, you don't use anything. How it works? So as I taught in the previous video, always in the woman, you will start the cycle in the first day of menstruation, okay? This, in the days that you are menstruating, is the least fertile days, okay? So if you have relationship during this period, probably you're not gonna get pregnant. After 7 days, usually here in a cycle of 28 days that most women have, but not all, okay? Someone may have a longer or a shorter. That's why you need to know very well your cycle. So in a 28 cycle days, after 7 days, in the 8th days, you already have the possibility to conceive, okay? How we are going to identify it? In a 28 days, in the middle of the cycle, so in the 14th day, it's the highest chance that you get pregnant. So in the middle of the cycle, so you menstruate today. After 14 days is the day that is the most probably day that you are fertile. But how, instead of just saying for the middle itself, we count some days, for example, 5 days of fertile from day 10 to 14, because not always is the same day, okay, every month. So we make this like a fertile window to not fix in a specific day. And also he give 2 more days as a possibility, okay? So for example, from day 8 and 9 and 15 and 16 are the day that's possible to conceive. So you menstruate in the day 1. After 7 days, you are at the risk to get pregnant. So from day 8 to day 16 is the highest risk that you have. After that is unlikely to conceive, so there is less chance. From day 17 to day 28 is the period that you have more chance to not get pregnant, okay? But obviously this can change, okay? So it's better, actually this one is better for people who want to get pregnant, not to avoid. But it's very nice to understand your own cycle and also to predict when you get menstruate and everything, okay? To be effective against, to avoid pregnancy, women must have a regular menstrual cycle. What does that mean? That you always have your menstrual cycle in the same period of time every month. For example, 28, then after 28. So should have a very regular menstrual cycle. It's not recommended for adolescents, for example, because the regular menstrual cycle are usually very irregular. Okay, so it's not recommended at all. So after, if you have a regular menstrual cycle, it's recommended, but you need to understand very well and the chances that you have more, the days that you have more chance to get pregnant. Okay, now the permanent contraception. Just like the name is permanent, something that you cannot come back. It's also called sterilization. Prevents all future pregnancies, but it's very difficult or sometimes impossible to reverse. There are 2 main types: vasectomy for men and tubal ligation for women. Let's talk about men first. So vasectomy. It's a permanent contraception or sterilization. What does it do? Remember the vas deferens? So the vas deferens that conduct the sperm from the testicles to the liquid, to the whole system. So these vas deferens are cut, okay? So they are cut and tied in a simple operation. they cut the connection between the tubes and the testicles. What does it do? Because the testicle produces the sperm, this sperm will not be transported anymore. So the man will ejaculate, but the ejaculation will not contain any sperm, just the other liquids that are produced. So sperm produced in the testicles will not mix with the other fluid of the semen. So the semen will not have sperm. The testicles will continue to make more sperm, but they are absorbed by the body. So there is no problem. The man will continue to produce the sperm, but the sperm will be absorbed by their own body, okay? So this is like a surgical procedure, okay? It's very simple, actually. The man doesn't feel the pain or anything. It's a local anesthesia when you get, but probably is reversible. So to do this, you need to make sure that you don't want to have babies anymore, okay? And now for the woman, is tubal ligation. It's also permanent contraception or sterilization. It's a procedure to close both fallopian tubes by using rings or clips. So here in this picture, it represents a clip, but can use some rings or sometimes cutting and tying. Okay, doctors sometimes opt by clip or rings because if you cut, it's gonna be irreversible. Okay, but if you use these clips or rings, it's not going. You still have a chance to remove, but it's not 100%. So this, what it does, it cuts the connection between the ovaries, so here are ovary, and the uterus. The ovaries will release the egg in the fallopian tubes, but the egg will not reach the uterus. So if you have sperm here, you will not have any eggs, so you're not going to got pregnant. So eggs continue to be produced by the ovaries, but they will not reach the uterus to be fertilized, okay? The good is like you don't need to worry more about it, okay? You can be free. You don't need to take any hormones, but it's irreversible. So it's not recommended for young people, for example, who may decide to have a kid later, okay? So it's not always possible to reverse tubal ligation. So now I'm going to do a summary about the action of each of these methods. For example, male, the production of sperm. After production of sperm, movement of sperm to penis. So which method can we use to avoid it? The vasectomy. So if you produce the sperm and you don't want to have sperm to move into your penis, you need to do the vasectomy. This vasectomy will cut the vas deferens, so the sperm will not be released to the rest of the semen. In the same way, for a female, instead of sperm, is the maturation of an ovum that we call ovulation. How do I avoid this? How do I avoid this maturation of the ovum? By the implant, okay, because it releases the hormones that avoid the maturation. The oral contraceptive, that the pills that you take every day, and the contraceptive injection. So all the three contains basically the same hormone that avoid the maturation of an ovum. Now for male again, how do I avoid the movement of the sperm, from the movement of the sperm to the penis from deposited sperms in vagina? What can I do to avoid the deposition of sperm in vagina? I can use a condom, okay? So if you use a condom, you avoid the sperm to go inside the vagina. And how do I avoid the movement if once your egg has matured, how do I avoid the movement of ovum into the fallopian tube? Actually, you don't avoid, okay? After you release the egg will go to the fallopian tube. You don't have any technique to avoid this. For men again, How do I, once the sperm is inside the vagina, what can I do to avoid the movement of sperm inside the uterus? You can use spermicides. So we did not talk yet, but spermicides is not very effective, but it decreases the speed from where the sperm moves, okay? But also the female condom, okay? Because the female condom, the sperm has been deposited in the vagina, but if you have a female condom inside, this sperm will not go to the uterus, okay? The female condom will stop them. Now, how do I avoid my eggs, my mature eggs, from the fallopian tubes to go in fallopian tubes? How do I avoid the movement in all fallopian tubes? By tubal ligation, okay? So the tubal ligation, it doesn't cut the connection between the ovaries from the ovaries and fallopian tubes, but avoid the ligation in the fallopian tube, so the eggs will not move to the uterus. Now, once you have the sperm in the uterus, is there anything I can do to avoid the fertilization? No, okay? But once I have the ovum in the fallopian tube, can I do something to avoid the fertilization of the ovum by the sperm? No, okay? So once the sperm is over there, they will fertilize the egg. But there is still one nest. This egg that's fertilized needs to be fixed in the endometrium. Is there anything that I can avoid this? So there is just two, sorry. The emergency contraceptive pill. So this emergency contraceptive, that's why it's not so effective, because the egg has already been fertilized. But also the intrauterine contraceptive device. But the intrauterine contraceptive device also avoid the sperm to reach the egg, okay? So the intrauterine do both. Okay, so that's it, guys. I hope you have enjoyed and learned something very useful for you. And please let me know if you have any question, okay? Thank you so much.